So what this really is all about is the fact that I have a brain savant that law enforcement found out about after running their sex scheme since 2001 and money fraud. Then they had people like my dad, the greedy framer, come over and try to inhibit my brain savant from getting freed the entire year of 2025. When he did not fabricate as much as he thought that he should have, he was not able to lock up my brain savant, due to which my dad, the greedy framer, begged his sisters after getting rejected by me again on November 1st. Now, he tried to sweet talk me June 29th. He was like, ah, son, you should talk to me through law enforcement. All these ads filling up my YouTube because he knew that I won my case on June 28th, 2025. Then he tried again July 18th. He was just like, I'm thinking of all the baby names for him. I feel like he's just been born and I think I'm going to go with the baby name Babuji. Babuji sounds like a good baby name for him. Like, yeah, it's been a while since I've been a baby. Anyways, a few months later, he puts up the movie Nowhere Special on my YouTube to try to gain sympathy about a poor dad who was just dying from cancer. It didn't work on me. And then again, November 1st, he tries to tell my sister, saying that I'm going somewhere. Do you want to ask Isan if he wants to come along with me? And I was just like, no, thank you. You've been blackmailing me all year, trying to block out my brain savant out of extreme envy that my mother is going to get all the money. And now you want me to go with you out of greed because you think that my brain savant's about to get freed. You don't want her to get the money. You want to greedily get all the money. So November 1st, he gets rejected by me again. And then he asked his framer sisters to go. He was just like, all of you guys all go to court. Make sure his brain savant cannot get freed. He basically got his framer sisters to go there, and then he begged them. He was like, please, make some false testimonies. And they did that on November 20th. But what they didn't know was that the government was actually watching very closely, and the person helping them fabricate, guess what, was a government informant. Poor them. Blew everything. All in one hit. Right before November 20th, not only did they fabricate a false testimony, the lies that they were making against me in early March 2026, they told the government informant that these were lies that they were going to make against me as well, due to which they had to try to get me to marry their daughters on March 9th, or send me sexually explicit pictures. I mean, March 7th, they sent me like porn stars pictures with his sister's name on it. Old, ugly, weirdo. Like, yeah, no, thank you, lady. And then, like, March 10th, the other sister, offering the framer, big, fat, ugly, old fart, sending me sexually explicit pictures of a woman resembling her. March 7th was a porn star, by the way, for the greedy framer's name on the bottom. March 12th, I don't even want to say this one. You just ask law enforcement what happened on March 12th, okay? So this is the level of greed these people had. These are the people law enforcement gave their talking points to now that they weren't able to fabricate a false testimony against me. And the reason they were doing so was because of my brain savant. They didn't want anyone profiting off of something that they could not get. Look, the only thing that I'm fighting for over here is my brain savant, okay? I've been a slave since I was pretty much an 11-year-old child. It's nothing to laugh about, but they just let my emotions go right now, law enforcement did. They pretty much tortured me every single day with mental torture drugs, okay? And basically, the only reason they've been doing all of this is ever since they found out about my brain savant is when they've been doing all of this. Before then, they couldn't care less about any investigations. The records and evidences will show that the sex scheme ads with Uncle Joey's in-laws started from the year 2001, and the money fraud's been going on for years and years. Not money that the person actually made themselves. Basically, I know this for a fact. No one told me, but obviously no one gives their own money. It was all defrauded for Americans. Unemployment, disability money, nothing to laugh about. But it's very sad indeed. The thing about it is, the reason law enforcement cares so much is due to them finding out about my brain savant. My brain savant gives me superhuman powers, as will be shown, for 6 hours long data on August 9, 2022, which law enforcement did not release, by the way. They claim that we have to look into this. We haven't analyzed it. They analyzed that 6 hour long data for 8 months. 8 months. 8 months later, so this is August 9, 2022. 8 months later, they analyzed it for 8 months, 6 hour long data. 8 months later, on around May 2023, they start bludgeoning my head with energy weapon torture tools so much I had to run over to Saudi Arabia. just to try to damage my brain savant. At the same time, they told people about it, and all these nice women, they started stalking me at Walmart. I'm trying to buy my stuff, and I was like, I was pretty broke at that time. Didn't even have any money on my own. And the lady would just, like, an older lady, just come up to me like, she'd be like my mother's age. She'd just like come up to me and try to pay for myself. Be like, no, I'm good. Thank you so much. But that's what the kind of stuff that was happening at that time. And law enforcement pretty much got really envious, and they started bludgeoning my head to make sure that I could, like, they could damage my brain savant. And I had to run over to Saudi Arabia because they were giving their visas the quickest. I tried to go to India, but Indian visas are not that easy to get. So I went to Saudi Arabia, and so yeah, so the August 9, 2022, April 22nd, 2025, June 6, 2025 will prove that energy drinks lets me go through their torture tools and speeds up my brain savant. And you also have November 14, 2025 from Moscow, Russia, proving that my powers increase over time, and everyone in the world knows about this test done. Basically, the fight is over my brain savant. The thing about it is, since the slavery era in American history, no one's been inhibited from being able to study. Studying or reading is a human right. Everyone has the right to study. And right now, it's all locked up. April 22nd, 2025, these ears, all the way on the back of my head, okay, not locked up that night because they pissed off someone in government and they wanted to really see if it existed or not. And right now, it's all locked up, which is absolutely wrong, because since the slavery era of American history, this has never happened. No one's inhibited from reading. I just want to study. That's all I want to do. I just want to study. I don't care if there's a case going on. I'll fight the case. I'll put my side of the story in. But regardless of whether there's a case going on or not, the fact of the matter is even serial killers are allowed to read in the prison libraries. So why am I not allowed to study? I just want to study. You want to verify my textbooks? You can do that. I'll tell you exactly which one I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with medicinal chemistry, the really dry textbook that normal humans can't get a page done in a month time. That textbook I'm going to start off with. I'm going to get that done in one day. If you don't believe me, ask law enforcement. They'll tell you that's definitely possible for a guy like me. That's what I'm going to start with. That's what I want to do. My brain savant's all locked up. And it's just not right. Because since the slavery era of American history, no one's ever been inhibited from being able to read or write. And this is a human right. And it's wrong to inhibit someone from doing so just because a few people in law enforcement are envious of you being able to study. And they have my brain savant all locked up. Night of April 22nd, these ears all the way in the back of my head. Brain like this right now, like that then. Superhuman, very nicely. Very nice. Like, the powers were there. And if you don't believe the fact that it could be used, August 9, 2022, it was used for 6 hours. So that data will prove that to you. It's never happened before in American history that someone was inhibited from being able to study. And these false testimonies have all gotten caught. November 20th, there was even a 10-year-old child in mid-January 2026 claiming that I said anti-government things to him when I was a 10-year-old child 25 years ago. Yeah, right. The false testimony, Dad, the Greedy Framers, again, required government informant, again, mid-March 2026. False testimony by my dad, the Greedy Framer, and his Framer sisters, again, required phone conversations to all be retrieved. These people are full of lies, and all they want is money. And law enforcement is just envious of my brain savant. It's literally never happened before that someone has been inhibited from being able to study. I just want to study. That's all I want. Since the slavery era of American history, that was a time period when people were inhibited from being able to read and write. It's not right that someone should be inhibited from being able to read. I just want to study. I don't want to read. I want to study, and I want my brain savant unlocked, please. I want to be able to study. I want the air drugging unlocked like how it was on that plane for 6 hours on August 9, 2022. And I want these unlocked like how it was on April 22nd, 2025. And I want all of it unlocked so I could study. It's not right to inhibit someone from being able to study. It's never happened before in American history, since slavery era of American history. And yeah, these are just bogus, false testimonies. Delusional drugging is load of crap. Basically, you have years of data of me meeting people with different ethnicities, faiths, backgrounds, everything for years before they actually, law enforcement told me on July 1st, 2023, by asking me to go with, giving me a list of girls, whatever happened, I found out there was a brain scanner. But before July 1st, 2023, you have years of brain scan data of me meeting people with different faiths, religions, ethnicities, meeting every one of the same level of respect and love. So this delusional drugging is BS. It's like throwing someone in the water in the Middle Ages ordeal, where you would throw someone in the water. If they float, they're innocent. They drown, they're guilty. There's just no way of doing things. Okay, delusional drugging is a form of false testimony. It should not be needed against a person who had a brain scanner attached to his brain for years before July 1st, 2023. Well, I met people of different religions, ethnicities, backgrounds, Hindus, Christians, people of Jewish faith with long beards, Orthodox Jewish people I had enormous amount of respect for and love. I loved every single one of them with the same amount of love and respect. And my mother raised me to be like that. She's never uttered one bad word her entire life considered bad in any way, shape, or form. If I would tell her I'd have a Jewish wife, she'd always welcome her with open arms. And right now, it's like delusional drugging is just a load of crap. You increase the delusional drugging levels to a point where the person has no control over their mind, and yeah, you just label that as him meaning he's a bad person. It's just, you have years of data of me meeting different people, my own thought processes, if I love them, respected them or not, and you're using delusional drugging anyways. What I'm trying to say is, since all the false testimonies have gotten caught, I won my cases all throughout 2025 when these false testimonies were not there, and even after they were made on and after November 20th, 2025, they've all gotten caught. The fact of the matter is, whether there's a trial going on or not is irrelevant to the fact that this has never occurred in American history before, where a person is inhibited from being able to study. Okay, it's just not right. Since slavery era of American history, it's never happened. Even serial killers are allowed to read books in prison library. I'm not allowed to study. My brain savant is locked up right now, and this was unlocked on April 22nd, 2025. Ears were all the way in the back of my head. Okay, air drugging was lured on August 9, 2022. I want both of those. I want air drugging removed, and I want these. I just want to study. And if you want to verify my textbooks, I'll tell you exactly which ones. I'm going to start with medicinal chemistry, the big dry one, and I'm going to get it done in one day. And yeah, but I don't just want my brain savant. I also want an impartial trial. And what an impartial trial basically means is I want a 30-minute brain savant test, which means that the courts have to force law enforcement to give me a 30-minute brain savant test. And the reason that is required is because from October 2019 till July 1st, 2023, I did stare into a textbook all day long from morning till night. But it's also a fact that they were using amnesia drugs on me the entire time. And the only reason I stared into a textbook is due to the fact that I'm autistic. But after July 1st, 2023, they inhibited me from being able to stare into textbooks anymore due to envy of finding out in mid-June 2023 that my powers increased over time, and they thought that it was because I stare into textbooks all day, when in fact I only stare into textbooks all day because I'm autistic. Started off with me watching documentaries all day from morning till night. That was proven on January 20th, 2025, when they did a test on me to see if I watched documentaries with the autistic part of my brain or not. So basically, I want an impartial trial. Impartial trial means that all the evidence has to be looked at, which means that if all law enforcement has been done since 2001's run sex schemes with Uncle Joey's in-laws and money fraud later on, then that means that they don't care about the investigation. So if they don't care about the investigation, then they must care about something else. And I've been claiming that they only care about my brain savant, which they cannot let be seen performing out in the open for 30 minutes to help save their life. All I ask the courts is to give me an impartial trial. Impartial trial means that every evidence has to be looked at. And since I've been claiming since day one that my brain savant's the reason that law enforcement wants me framed with all these false testimonies starting November 20th, 2025, followed by a 10-year-old child mid-January 2026 claiming I said anti-government things to him in elementary school when I was a 10, 11-year-old child. And all these pack of lies my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters have been given by law enforcement only because they can't speak themselves, since all they've done is run sex teams money fraud the entire time, really points to the fact that there's some other reason why law enforcement wants me framed so badly. And since I've been claiming since day one that it's because of my brain savant that law enforcement found out about, I fully feel that I'm not getting an impartial trial if the evidence of my brain savant is not looked at performing out in the open for 30 minutes. All I'm requesting, sir and ma'am, is give me a 30-minute brain savant test so that we find out exactly what the powers are like before I'm allowed to study. If you just let me study, law enforcement is just going to use amnesia drugs on me like they were using from October 2019 till July 1st, 2023. I'll stare into a textbook like autistic people do, but it's not the same. I want to use all my powers. So in order to use all my powers have to first be tested. And if this is an impartial trial, then all I request, sir and ma'am, honorable judges, is that I am given I'm given a 30-minute brain savant test, which means that for 30 minutes my brain savant's freed completely, and the excuse that it's going to raise human rights concerns because then other countries are going to find out that my brain savant was locked cannot be used anymore, due to the fact that my brain savant test was done on November 14, 2025 in Moscow, Russia, less than a mile away from the Kremlin. I could literally see the 3 golden globes of the Kremlin. Everyone in the world, including Russia, India, China, saw that brain savant test on their own with their own naked eye. Well, actually not naked eye. They also saw it from brain scanner data. And the reason they had to look at it from the brain scanner data was because it was a very cowardly test done where law enforcement would literally let go of my brain savant for less than a minute, quickly get a good brain scan for about a minute while it was freed, use artificial intelligence to analyze it really quickly, lock it all up, all my brain savant, ears fully locked up, everything locked up, air chugging locked up, close it out, run away. Less than a minute long test. That's not what I'm asking for. Okay, yes, they got the data. But what I'm asking for is a 30-minute brain savant test where my brain savant is let go of by the courts forcefully for 30 minutes. That way we know for a fact what the powers are like, so that when I study after that test is done, then I could study like how my brain savant is, which is not going to be like how I studied from October 2019 till July 1st, 2023, after which time law enforcement didn't even let me study anymore or stare into textbooks, despite me being autistic, and that's what I do. Ever since I was a child, all I did was watch documentaries all day long from morning till night. And on January 20th, 2025, this part of my brain savant, autistic part from childhood, was actually tested, which means that it's absolutely wrong to inhibit someone from being able to study, since it's never happened in American history. Even serial killers are allowed to read books in prison libraries, and I'm just trying to study. I just want to study at home. I'll even tell you what the textbooks are going to be. You can verify them. It's just plain and simple textbooks. Okay, I'll tell law enforcement what the textbooks are going to be. It's nothing related to religion, politics, anything of that sort of nature. Okay, it's just going to be something like medicinal chemistry, hydraulics, robotics, things of that sort of nature. That's what I like doing, and I do this pretty much I do it every day, 12 hours every day, like I did from October 2019 till July 1st, 2023, because I'm autistic, and that's what I do. Since I was a child, I would watch documentaries all day long from morning till night. This was proven on January 20th, 2025, when law enforcement actually tested this part of my brain savant out for documentaries from early childhood. So I am telling the truth on that, and yes, it did evolve to textbooks, but it's absolutely wrong to inhibit someone from being able to study just because they have a brain savant and you're envious of them. So all I ask is impartial trial. Impartial trial means that if I'm claiming that the reason law enforcement run sex schemes and money fraud since 2001, never cared to think about any investigations, suddenly they've framed multiple false testimonies against me, starting November 20th, 2025, with even a 10-year-old child claiming mid-January 2026 that I said anti-government things to him, multiple false testimonies, group chat false testimony coming out of my overseas pharmacy school, despite law enforcement knowing that my brain savant was locked the entire time. They could not have missed out on that. And the other fact is, I was being abused by my stepmother, who was adding acid to my clothes. I wasn't given food at home, and I used to tutor people for food. So literally, this has never happened before. Someone being inhibited from being able to study since the slavery era of American history, it's never happened before. And I know for a fact law enforcement using delusional drugging false testimony right now. It's just BS. Okay, you look at the evidence from before July 1st, 2023, when law enforcement themselves told me about a brain scanner, you would find out about the fact that it's all just BS. I've never been anything bad, okay, not even in my thought processes. But fact of the matter is, this has never happened before. But the thing is, I want my studying abilities, yes, but I want it after getting an impartial trial. And an impartial trial means every single evidence has to be looked at. And if the facts and evidence show that all law enforcement has done since 2001 is to run sex schemes and money fraud, and I'm telling the courts that it's because of my brain savant that's locked up, that law enforcement cannot see performing out in the open for 30 minutes to help save their life, then the court should order a 30-minute brain savant test, so that my brain savant could be seen performing out in the open for 30 minutes to see its full potential and capabilities before I'm allowed to study. That way, if they use amnesia drugs on me or something like they did from October 2019 till July 1st, 2023, then we'll know. And if the brain savant test for 30 minutes is ordered by the courts, then we'll know for a fact that law enforcement will not try to cheat by using amnesia drugs or things of that sort of nature, since it's an official test being done by the courts. That is all I'm asking for. I want my studying abilities, but before that, I want an impartial trial where all the evidence has to be looked at, including the main motive for law enforcement and why they fabricated false testimonies against me starting November 20th, 2025, followed by a 10-year-old child claiming 25 years later that I said anti-government things to him in mid-January 2026. With a group chat false testimony, numerous ones, probably don't even know about all of them. I probably don't even know about all of them. But my point is, I want an impartial trial first, where the courts have to realize the fact that if law enforcement has done nothing but run sex schemes and money fraud the entire time, then this could be a motive behind why they want to frame me so bad, my brain savant, which means that my brain savant test has to be administered. 30-minute brain savant test has to be administered to check to see what the potentials are like, to know for a fact. But this could be a major motive for why law enforcement is doing everything they're doing, and then let me study as much as I want, since studying is not a crime, and it has never happened in American history, not even in the slavery era. Please and thank you. That was it.